what is autism? That's, I think, what's really bothering me after like contemplating on it, because autism to me is when you're trapped in your thoughts, when you can't talk to anybody, okay? When you cannot express your feelings, when you don't understand it, when you can't label a feeling. That's my interpretation and understanding of autism. When people feel completely secluded and they feel like no one gets them, yeah? So they're always afraid to express themselves. And it results in them almost feeling trapped in their mind and their body. Now, I don't know. That's how I see it. What is your understanding of autism, John?
Well, I like to do these definitions from causes, not effects.
Okay.
So when you say these people can't express themselves, that's an effect.
True.
That, and my issue with that is it could be autism
Mm-hmm.
and it may not be. And so the issue is all of the diagnoses are done
Mm-hmm.
through effects.
True.
So if you hit these effects, you have autism. And then, half of the autistic, and I'm using air quotes, kids and people I deal with no longer have autism.
Yeah.
And it's like, so did I cure autism
The
or
same
did
thing.
they misdiagnose them? And so what I found is that when a perceiver has trauma,
Mm-hmm.
it results in them everything you said effect wise. They can't express themselves, they can't, get out of their head, they can't all that stuff. So actually, a perceiver who has trauma has the same effects as what you said. So the issue with autism is that I like to use, it's funny, Eddie Dean has got this backward steering bike,
Mm-hmm.
and I met him like 3 years ago. Well, 10 years ago or so, I saw this video about a backward steering bike. So what happened is this guy had these engineers basically double gear the handlebar on the bike. So when you turn it to the right, it goes to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think about my mind and brain analogy, you are a mind or a soul. You're the rider on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
The bike is your brain. Well, 10% of your brain is what you're directly control of. That's your conscious brain. 90% is what you're not directly touching. So on a bicycle, the handlebars are your conscious brain because you're not directly touching the wheels. You control everything through the handlebars, and the pedals would be your conscious brain. So the pedals and the handlebar. Well, when people get on that bike who can ride a bike, they suddenly can't ride a bike at all, like not even 2 feet.
Yeah.
And we look on the outside and go, oh, that guy doesn't know how to ride a bike. Well, he does know how to ride a bike. It's what's the problem? The handlebars are backwards, the conscious brain. So autistic people are having trouble with the conscious brain. They, mind, soul, are fine, and they're unconscious, 90% at bike, are fine. So what happens is if you think about it, how do we try to teach autistic kids? We try to make them think more. We try to, basically grip the steering wheel harder and steer harder. And it just frustrates them. So one of the things when I deal with autistic parents, I show them this video with parents who have autistic kids. I show them this video and I say, look, first of all, I know you're frustrated, okay, with your kid, but they're just as frustrated because you don't feel it from the kid. You don't see what they're doing. So one of the things that kind of helps the parents is to realize the kid's just as frustrated as they are. It's not like the kid is enjoying making their life frustrating, the parent's life frustrating. The kid, so if you were to get on that bike, and this is why I love people getting on this bike, and Eddie has a bike like this, and most people won't get on it, which is funny because they're not growth mindset. They don't really want to know what this is like. But if you get on that bike and you start, you're not going to be able to steer it at all. You're not going to be able to go anywhere. And if I stood there and say, steer harder, pay more attention, Is that going to help you steer better? Oh, that's what we're doing on autistic kids. Is the problem is a conscious brain problem, and the answer is more conscious brain. So what's happened is I have helped parents. Like if you think about it, there was these parents. Their kid took 2 hours to go to bed every night because you're sitting there trying to tell the kid what to do consciously, and it's not doing it. We got that down to 5 minutes because I taught the parents how to appeal to the kid unconsciously.
Yeah.
So if you bypass the conscious brain and talk to the kid unconscious, you get them going that way. So this family, this is like 8 years ago. This family wanted to bring me in to speak to the other parents at the school. And the school said, nope. They have a woman they bring in for like $400 an hour to do something like this. And she was from Chicago. These parents met with that expert woman and showed her everything that I did. And she goes, that's what I do. The thing is she doesn't know why she's talking unconsciously. She's just learned, if you think about it, she's been doing this for years and she's tried this and tried that and tried this and tried some things backwards and wait, those worked, and tried some other things. And now after 22 years of doing this, she's got something that helps these kids. That I call that effective cause. If you remember, Swarup was always working effective cause. And what made Swarup and I a good team is I go cause to effect. I know what's going on in the brain.
Yeah.
And so I know right away what to do to fix it.
Right.
So the thing is that I have a model right from the causes. And so I can adjust to the uniqueness of the kid and their situation. So yeah, this woman said, yeah, she does the same thing. That's what she's doing. And that's why you pay her $400 an hour, because she's not being conscious.
Yeah.
She's not appealing to these kids consciously, but it still calls all these parents, so the parents could have brought me in. I wouldn't have charged anything. They'd rather bring somebody in that, pays $400 an hour, and they can only see this person like, one day a month.
Does she work one-to-one or one-to-many? Is she addressing unconsciously one-to-many or one-to-one?
Well, she would come into the school and then help the teachers deal with situations they might bring parents. Yeah, so it was one-to-one.
One-to-one. Okay, so it's unique to that child, basically. Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, she still is going to say, try this, try that, try this, versus what I've done is like, I've done is like, I helped them realize this one kid was exhortive perceiver. So then I could explain to him, to the parents, here's the unconscious things that would work with him.
He's upset, basically. Yeah, he's upset with you. He wants to make you feel what he's feeling. That's why he's acting up.
Even if he's not upset, he just wants you to feel what he's feeling. And he's going to be very creative. He's going to think of all these amazing things. One of the things, here's the controversy around autism is that basically, like when the child's basically like a baby, I'm going to say 0 to 9 months, 0 to a year.
Okay.
The brain is, in the first 6 months, the brain is doing all of its major mainframe, big picture wiring.
Okay. And
then it goes at 18 months, it's got all of that mainframe in, and at 3 years, it's got all of the sub wiring done. Okay. And so, but the start of it is like the first 6 to 9 months, the kid's brain is tuning in to a level of sensitivity. So what's happening is the brain is going, where do I need to adjust myself relative to my environment? And so if there's a lot, like, when you and I were kids, our parents had a room for the baby, and they kept the baby in that room for 6 to 9 months and just, like kept a lot of harsh sounds away, harsh lights, all the stuff, and nice, soft, everything. Now people take their babies on a plane, or they take them downtown, and people are driving Harley Davidson motorcycles through town, and they're so loud. And what's happening is when all these the theory is when all of these big stimuli hit that baby, the baby's brain pulls itself, like it meters itself down. It turns down the level of sensitivity. So what happens is it's trying to protect the brain, so it can't really operate with too much stimulation. So the effect is what you said. They get overwhelmed, they can't get out of their head, they can't think. So I think the book was The Brain That Changes Itself. One of the issues is autistic people can't look you in the face because unconsciously we have given so much information through our face.
Mhm.
And what happens is when you look at somebody in the face, you are getting a ton of information. Now, whether you're in touch with it or not is another thing. Well, these autistic kids, their brain are turned to such sensitivities. They're getting so much information, they won't look people in the eye. And they actually had, I don't know if you ever heard of the movie Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, but it's basically, it was a play that they turned into a movie. Two couples, that's the only characters are these two couples, and it's all talking. It is just completely a talking play. There's no car chase, there's no gunfight. It's just a boring talking play, if you will. And they hooked up these devices to different people's, heads so that they could see where their eyes were going. And what happens is, you would watch the film and it would monitor that you're looking face to face to face. When they put it on people with autism, they were looking at the doorknob on the door in the background while people are talking. They're not looking at people's faces because it's too much information. So that's why they want to be soothed. That's why they might be like found underneath the sink or, someplace holding like a water pipe and listening to the water gurgle through it. That's as much stimulation as they can handle. And that's why you see now, at least in America, you'll see people like putting earmuffs, like on their babies, or putting sunglasses on their babies, because what some people believe is like, hey, too much, too loud, if they're going to take the kid out, stimulation or too much light or colored lights or whatever is going to reset the sensitivity. And I'll tell you one more thing that caused a lot of people to believe this theory is there's a place in South Chicago, Cabrini Green. It's basically a low income type of district. And Cabrini Green's got these apartments that go really, really high up. And they sit right next to the highway in Chicago.
Okay.
So these things are right there, and what they found is the incidence of autism goes down as you go up in the apartment, meaning the babies that live in the lower floors right next to the highway have a higher incidence of autism than the kids living further up in it.